Hi everyone, welcome to the second part of the lesson. So we've done our summarising, we've done our connecting. Now, continuing with the code task, we are going to do part 2, which is all about identifying and explaining how meaning is enhanced through choices of words and phrases. So it's sort of like 2A, because 2A is all about giving and explaining the meaning of words in context. The difference with 2G is we're talking about those phrases and clauses now. So 2A specifically is words. Now we're thinking more, and then really how that connects to an overall feeling that you get. You know, what is that meaning of the words, which is a little bit like what you've just done when you're thinking about the connections that you can make. What's the main messages, and how do these words then enable the writer to convey those messages? So we're going to read the text again. If you want to join me in reading, that would be wonderful. So here we go. There are some places you would not want to go. Even if I told you that we have oceans clear and blue as summer skies, filled with sea turtles and dolphins, or forest-covered hills lush with birds that call through air thick with warmth. Even if you knew how beautiful the quiet is here, clean and fresh as a glass bell ringing. But nobody comes here because they want to. My nanny told me that this is how they brought her, but she says it is always the same, no matter who you are or where you come from. From your house, you travel on horse or by foot, then on a boat. The men who row it cover their noses and mouths with cloths stuffed with herbs so they don't have to share your breath. They will not help you on the boat, although your head aches and 2 weeks ago your legs began to hurt, then to numb. Maybe you stumble towards them and they duck. They'd rather you rolled over their backs and into the sea than touch you. So again, feel free to pause the video and then read it aloud yourself, or alternatively listen to me saying it again, although I'm sure it's probably ingrained in your minds by now as I've read it so many times. Right, so here are 2 questions, only 2, but you'll notice there's a bit of space underneath. So you are expected to write a couple of lines for this. So really do think about the way that you word your response. Make sure it's got the correct grammar. Please make sure that you are also spelling it as correctly as you can. So question 1, what does the phrase, "it is always the same, no matter who you are or where you come from," tell you about how the men treat people on the boat? So if you're thinking about highlighting key information as you've done before, the real word here that you need to think about is how. Okay, so it's not what do the men do to treat people on the boat, so that would be stuff their cloths with herbs, etc. It's how do these words tell you about how they are treating the people on the boat. So from the quote, you need to identify the most important word here. Now the how of how something is done is indicated by the adverb. The adverb tells us how the verb is done, doesn't it? So identifying the adverb is your first place. Now I'm going to help you out here. Your adverb is always, so you're really focusing on that word in your explanation. Now question 2, another one about how, but how do these words, they'd rather you rolled over their backs and into the sea than touch you, help you to form an impression of the men on the boat? Now again, this word is how do the words help? It's not what is your impression. Our impression might be that these men are scared. Our impression might be that these men are mean. It might actually be that these men are just safeguarding themselves and their families. So it's not that. That's not your answer. The answer is how do the words help you? So think about that. We'll go through the answers anyway. So in a second, pause the video. Have a really good go at these. Now 2G is a little bit harder, so really do try to think. Refer back to the text at all points. Say your answer aloud if you need to before you write it down. If you're working on a paper pack, you'll see from the illustration of the, the screenshot here of the worksheet, that you have got space underneath if you want to carry on. Now in Teams, you'll be able to start typing and those lines will start to move out of the way. So good luck. Have a really hard think about what you want to write before you write it. And then when you are ready, press play again on the video and we'll go through the answers. Please do not cheat. Please do test your brain as you would in school. We'll go through the answers in a mo. Right then, so you must be ready now to hear the answers. So let's compare yours to mine. Right, question 1. What does the phrase, "it's always the same, no matter who you are or where you come from," tell you about how the men treat the people on the boat? It's not just that it's always the same that you need to focus on. We've kind of focused on that through the word always, but we're also adding in addition this time, that it's never changed, but it has no difference depending on who you are or where you come from. So if you are young or old, rich or poor, if you are have different colour skin, doesn't matter whatsoever, because it has no difference according to who you are or where you come from. So the richest or the poorest people are treated the same. Right then, that is the answer for that one. Let's move on to question 2. Question 2, how do the words "they would rather you rolled over their backs and into the sea than touch you" help you to form an impression of the men on the boat? So it helps you to form an impression because it describes how much the men are willing to sacrifice in order to keep distance between themselves and the people on the boat. These men are willing to sacrifice lives in order to keep us safe, and that's through the descriptive words. So you must talk about the description there. The answer is not, as I previously mentioned, that the men are mean and uncaring, because that would be what is your impression, what do these words tell us, and that would be back to the 2A. So this is where there's a kind of fine line between 2A and 2G. Well done if you got those answers right. Please don't be put off if you didn't. 2G is quite hard, and we will keep on working on 2G as the weeks progress. I will see you tomorrow for Thursday's lesson, and you'll be happy to know it's not in 2 parts. Right, bye guys.